Picture your favorite antique store. You know the one I'm talking about. The shelves are crowded with inventory. It's dead silent, and there's someone in the back watching you with suspicious eyes, waiting for you to steal something. You wonder, how does this place stay in business? There's only 1 or 2 people in here at a time. Not that any more could really fit. I've spent the last 2 years working very closely with the antique industry, learning from dealers who have seen both its golden days and its current struggles, and I've felt an air of frustration in the community. So today I really wanted to dive into why antique stores are facing declining sales, debunk the myth that young people just aren't into antiques, and explore how outdated business practices are just holding them back. So if the general consensus is that people aren't shopping for antiques anymore, that it's a dying industry, why are they still in business? Well, there's a few easy answers. The first being that it really doesn't cost too much to run an antique store. The small shops, in my area at least, own their own buildings, and they have for many years. They've been in that same place for 20 years. They have built their own community of customers who come to them for reliable service and expertise. They open a few days a week, cater to loyal customers, and manage everything themselves, from pricing to closing up shop. On a small scale, running an antique shop really isn't that big of an operation. And what's more important, these business owners have created a community around them, built on mutual respect, sharing knowledge, trading treasures. Every antique dealer that I have met has been more than willing to share their expertise with me. A lot of times it's just a heads up on what to look out for, little signature things that'll tell the difference between 2 items or their value. They also like to ask about my interests. They're very passionate and probably know a lot about things that I am passionate in. The antique store is and always has been the place to go when you think you have something good on your hands, looking for that one special antique piece to finish your collection. You go to the antique dealer, ask them for advice when you have suddenly come upon a large amount of antiquities and don't really know what to do with them. Usually they are a hub for a type of economy inside of the town. And once you go in and start kind of chatting to the store owner, usually there's some people hanging around, like different vendors or dealers or procurers that are just hanging out in there and are happy to answer any questions or chit chat with you. It is sort of a social hub in that way. The antique shop in your town, whether you have one or you used to have one or you have more than one, it is or was an important part of your community, whether you have been able to participate in it recently or not. From a business owner's perspective, that's not something that I would let go of lightly, to be such a central part in a community and to have built something that is really a community. They're still open because they can be, and it's not something that they are interested in getting rid of anytime soon. However, there is another darker side to this coin. It could be that in their reality, the idea of closing up shop is a complete impossibility. A mountain of tasks aren't in the realm of feasibility for them. Sometimes they are older in age, they'd have to sell the building or rent it and sell the business. That's all on top of the mountains of inventory they've been hoarding over the years, a topic that I will probably address in a future video. Sometimes it is a sad situation where they feel very stuck because they can't move forward. They are on their way to retirement, but they have no exit plan. How do you pay for a building in a downtown without having a business inside of it? What are you gonna do with all of your inventory? Some people I know have several storage units. A lot of people I know store their inventory inside of their building. What happens if the person that wants to rent your store does not want to have the things inside of it? Dangers of filling an antique mall with large, heavy furniture, delicate breakable items, very, very high value, very low demand. I could imagine that it would make a lot of people feel stuck. And it's a little bit tragic, and it's hard for me to watch sometimes. Watching people age out of something they're very, very passionate about, it is very devastating. Okay, moving on. So, despite the challenges facing the antique industry, many stores remain in business. What is causing the businesses to fail? So, we covered why antique stores are still around, but I really want to talk about why they are failing. It truly just comes down to a lack of innovation, whether that be their marketing strategies, technology integration, or the way they run their business. They're just not changing anything. One of the biggest reasons, in my opinion, that antique stores are struggling to stay afloat is their failure to adapt to modern marketing practices. Many stores rely solely on word of mouth marketing, outdated methods like newspaper ads. There's a few strategies that I think could be implemented by antique stores, and they're not really gate-kept by any sort of hard technology usage. It's rare to see targeted ads, social media campaigns, or even well-maintained websites for these businesses. This lack of visibility means they miss out on reaching a broader audience, especially for younger shoppers who spend significant time online. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok offer affordable advertising options that can target specific demographics, yet many antique store owners shy away from using them. Without online advertising, they're also missing out on tapping into niche markets. Collectors of uranium glass or mid-century furniture are searching for these items online. Poor merchandising practices. This one I am honestly pretty passionate about. Antique stores often fail to present their inventory in a way that attracts modern customers. Competitors like thrift stores or vintage-style boutiques excel at creating clean displays that highlight their best pieces. Many antique stores are just cluttered and hard to walk around. Everything is dusty. It makes it really difficult for customers to find what they're looking for. And I also hear the argument that that is part of the charm. The hunt is worth it. However, the hunt is appealing to less and less customers over time. The junk aspect of antiques has kind of degraded itself in a way. I feel that shoppers today want an experience. They're drawn to well-organized, Instagram-worthy displays that tell a story or show how an item can fit into your own home. Antique stores that don't prioritize merchandising, I think, are really handicapping themselves in that aspect because they are just unable to attract a wide enough customer base anymore. Ignoring trend cycles. Antique stores often stock based on the items that they are able to acquire or have accumulated over the years rather than following trend cycles. This disconnect makes their inventory feel very stale and unappealing. This is a generalization. However, I have seen more often than not, they're just putting out whatever they have, wherever they got it, and are completely ignoring trend cycles with how quickly they go by. If you are just ignoring them, you are losing quite a bit of revenue that you could be generating. Competitors who are staying on top of trends like brass items, Art Deco, mid-century modern, and really lean into those themes while they're popular are the ones that are capturing the attention of the consumers. Platforms like Instagram and Pinterest are filled with people sharing their finds and their decorating ideas. By not participating in these spaces, antique stores miss opportunities to connect with potential customers and establish themselves as authorities in the industry. Antique stores need to embrace modern marketing and merchandising practices to stay competitive. They should invest in online advertising like Facebook and Instagram to target local shoppers. They should upgrade their merchandising techniques by creating visually appealing displays. They should follow trends and engage online. I think addressing these gaps would really give antique stores a push and a leg to stand on in this quickly growing reselling industry that we've found ourselves in. On to technology, which is separate from online marketing. I would just like to make that clear before I start. I would like you to imagine that very small antique shop that I asked you to picture at the beginning of the video, where it's very crowded, very small, very rural, one person working. If they went viral on TikTok and got a massive influx of customers. Now, my question is, how long do you think the line would be? If your answer was too long, you are correct. When I took over my shop, it was still using QuickBooks 2003, a solid program for its time, but completely impractical for a 40-vendor antique mall. Then manually entering invoice amounts on a credit card processor, printing the invoice on an office printer on a full sheet of paper, then stapling the signed credit card receipt to the QuickBooks invoice, and if the customer wanted one, you had to use another full sheet of paper. Forget Apple Pay. The transactions were painfully long. The first thing I did was get an entirely new point of sale system built specifically for a vendor mall with an integrated payment processor and a receipt printer. Naturally, it sped up transaction times, and we could have a casual conversation with a customer without being held hostage by our unreliable budget office printer. What I wasn't expecting, but I'm glad to have discovered, is that the program is much easier for our antique vendors to see and understand. This is all a very long-winded way to say sometimes technology is not bad. Just because we have an appreciation of the past doesn't mean we have to stay there, and upgrading your technology can provide small bumps to your efficiency in day-to-day tasks that make it easier on yourself, and that gets reflected to your customers by having a more simplified and comfortable experience. There's so many ways that antique stores can use technology, integrate it into their business to stay just a little bit more competitive. Networking, design, customer rewards, inventory tracking, buying and selling. There's just so many things that I think could be improved upon, but there's a general distrust of technology. Business management. Now, I don't want to offend anyone here. This is all supposed to be very constructive. I think antique stores are failing because of poor business management. From the insane inventory to reckless spending, poor customer service, the management of most antique stores is unlike any other business that I've seen. There's not usually very many employees, and if they are, they just kind of help out around the shop. There's no one to take over when you're sick or on vacation, which if that's how you want to run your business, by all means go for it. That just means yours will not grow. If the entire industry follows suit, that just means it's ripe for the taking, either by major corporations, the younger generation, or another corporate asshole that pops up and sees the potential in the industry without any regard for the actual antiques themselves. Goodwill, who's selling antique rugs for $6,000. I saw that on Reddit this morning. Oh my God. Wild. And it's because they can, because they know someone will pay it. At least these small shop owners love and cherish their own collections. I don't want to go to an antique store that's set up like Home Goods, that buys out people's estates and flips them for pennies on the dollar so that some CEO can finance a yacht. I'm sure we are all frustrated with that. So what do we do? There's not a whole lot that you can do for the businesses that are currently standing, that are fighting tooth and nail against technology and progression. If you're a business owner looking to innovate your shop, there are a lot of resources online. I found that some of new business startup information isn't quite relevant to long-standing places. I found a lot of the information helpful for rebranding and restructuring and evaluating, making a business plan. Will just kind of get your ideas flowing about where you actually want to take your business in the future. The best advice I wish I could give to long-standing business owners that might be struggling with aging out of your capabilities is to start delegating. Bring in some vendors that might be able to help you around the shop. You could look for vendors that are younger and maybe just getting into the world of antiques so you can show them the ropes. Also rely on them to keep you grounded and possibly help you navigate the technology that might be holding you back. For vendors that are already in an antique shop or mall and you're worried that your mall could close someday due to lack of innovation, disinterested management, or whatever else, I would advise you to make yourself visible. Show your face at your mall often. Ask how you can help. Offer to take over responsibilities. Chances are their attitude has rubbed off on the other vendors in the mall and no one really wants to take on a lost cause. Or alternatively, you could just open your own shop altogether. I will be your biggest supporter. I do just want to add a little disclaimer here at the end to tell you that I myself am not perfect and do not utilize all of these strategies to their full potential. This is just an observation of what I have seen. I do struggle to keep up to date on trends. I struggle with consistency online and staying communicated with my vendors. The goal isn't to be perfect, but to continue to strive for better. Okay? That is all. All in all, be the change you want to see in the industry. We have lost too many cute little boutique shops to corporations. Okay? Support your local antique shop, encourage innovation, and embrace change. Thank you so much for watching this video. I have always really wanted to start a YouTube channel. I really haven't gotten the time or the bandwidth to do it, but I'm excited to start putting videos out for you now. Understand that this is all just a commentary. It's a lighthearted video. No hate to any of the antique stores out there. I love the charm of an antique store. I really do love the antique industry. I have my own vendor mall for 2 years now. I have been learning so much about this world, and I'm excited to share more. So if you have any other video ideas or questions you want to ask me, let me know down in the comments, because it's pretty dry down there usually. So I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you at the thrift store. Bye.